I'm not gonna lie to you, when I saw the new Donkey Kong Bonanza trailer come out the other day, I was like, man, this looks so awesome. Can we get this with Sonic? I don't think it's much of a secret that Nintendo continues to raise the bar every time they announce a new 3D platformer, and every time they do it, I'm always wondering, okay, well, what's happening with Sonic? And then I looked at Sonic Frontiers, which is Sonic's most recent outing when it comes to 3D platforming outside of Sonic X Shadow Generations. Yes, that game counts, but it's still a remaster at the end of the day. That being said, I don't think it's a secret that Sega's working on this next 3D Sonic game. We're definitely going to get a new one, it's just a matter of when, and also what. What will this new 3D Sonic game be like? Will it be like Sonic Frontiers? Will it be like something completely different? Well, that's subjects for a separate video. Today I want to talk to you guys about Sonic Frontiers 2, the sequel that I think definitely should happen, however, only in name. Now, what do I mean by an in-name only sequel? Well, I'm going to ask you guys to look directly at games like Mario Galaxy 2 or Tears of the Kingdom, where they serve as sequels to the actual game, but only really in gameplay and characters. In other words, I would make it so that you don't need to play the first game in order to understand the second. And the reason for that is because I believe that Frontiers, the story for that game, is finished. I don't think we need to add any more additions or make things even more complicated than they already are. And also too, I really want to get away from the Starfall Islands. I believe the Starfall Islands are definitely good for what they were. In the place of Sonic Frontiers and in the context of the story of the game, I understand why we were exploring these pretty desolate islands. However, I don't think they truly capture the world of Sonic the Hedgehog that I really want to capture in this upcoming sequel, or I guess potential upcoming sequel. For this game, I would want to explore islands that actually feel like they're truly part of Sonic the Hedgehog's worlds. Worlds that feel familiar not just to Sonic, but also to us as the player. And I'm not talking about exploring the same old generic areas like Green Hill Zone or, I don't know, even City Escape. I'm more so talking about new areas that feel like they could belong in this universe. Maybe they are City Escape, but make it feel unique enough to make it feel fresh. That being said, one of the biggest issues I think I and many other people had with the Starfall Islands in the original Sonic Frontiers is that these areas did not feel lived in, which made sense for the context of this game, but in a potential sequel, I'm gonna need more people and things to do on these islands. Something I noticed basically off-rip when it came to Donkey Kong Bonanza is just how interactive that world seems to feel. There's so many different characters you can interact with and things to do on these islands that make them feel, you know, actually really cool. Not to mention, there's a benefit to exploring because there's all sorts of different things you can unlock, do, or see. And even aside from Donkey Kong Bonanza, there are other 3D titles that I can look to for more inspiration. Games like Mario Odyssey, Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild, all are exactly what I'm talking about here. And a cool thing that I think Sonic has the benefit of is a combination of both animal-type characters and also human-type characters. You can have these worlds collide and have me interact with all kinds of NPCs, making a really interesting world. But you know what would be really interesting? If you guys left a like on this video and subscribe to the channel, it would help me out a ton. But anyway, I think the closest we ever got to this were games like Sonic Unleashed, where Sonic was literally exploring the world with Tails, where he was just kind of flying around all these different places of the world trying to stop Eggman, and also trying to rekindle the power of the Chaos Emeralds. In these games, you weren't just exploring these other parts of the world, but you were also interacting with the locals of each of these parts, making them feel lived in. To me, this should be the standard for an open world game just because this allows immersion to take place. These games set the scene with the music, the environment, the people, and just the overall things you can do in it. I would argue Frontiers did a good job of setting the scene because the game overall was supposed to feel mysterious and kind of creepy. Sonic was in search for his friends on these desolate islands with basically no help whatsoever, with the looming threat of these giant, massive titans. The lack of people here actually does make the eerie environment work here. But like I said, I don't want to see it happen again. Give me your generic grass place, maybe it is a Green Hill Zone. Give me your city place, maybe it is like a City Escape kind of area. And also give me other areas in which Sonic does have some familiarity with, like a snow area or maybe a beach area. Use vibrant and warm colors to help the environment actually feel like an area Sonic would actually partake in and easy on the eyes of a viewer. Maybe this is the best way to describe this if I'm being not so clear. For Frontiers 2, I don't want it to look like Breath of the Wild like Frontiers tried to do, but instead look more like Super Mario Odyssey, with all of the warm and vibrant colors. I am a firm believer that both aesthetics work for Sonic the Hedgehog, as he's done both before and done both well. That being said, I think it'd be cool to flip the script for once and do something different. Now let's talk about the gameplay, and honestly, I'm gonna keep things kind of similar to how they were in Sonic Frontiers with minor changes. But firstly, let's talk about what is staying. And I'm going to begin this list off with the combat system. One of the things that I thought Sonic Frontiers really did well was the combat system. Maybe you expand on it, maybe you make it a little bit better, and then also get rid of some of the things that do not need to be on the skill tree. Some ideas for expanding the skill tree might include giving Sonic new moves, or even just giving him new powers and abilities. Let's just say I wouldn't mind if they went the Donkey Kong Bonanza route and gave Sonic some new transformations to utilize during actual gameplay. Speaking of which, having Super Sonic be playable outside of boss battles is a must, which is something that I don't really think we need to talk about too much here, but it would just be cool to see. I personally don't see why he can't control like Tails of Cyclone in Sonic Frontiers. I felt like that was smooth and could really work for Super Sonic. Another thing that I think is an absolute must-stay for the potential Sonic Frontiers sequel is the cyberspace area. Maybe you call it a different name, but I need boost levels back again because Sonic X Shadow Generations just showed me just how good these things can be, and I want to see Sonic do it and partake in just how amazing they really are. And I'm not talking about the Sonic Generations part of the game, I'm talking about the Shadow Generations part. These levels felt so good. I don't know if it was the Doom powers giving Shadow that kind of swift movement and making the levels feel that much more fun, or if it was just the gameplay itself being just tremendous, or maybe it was a combination of both. Whatever, I need this kind of boost levels to happen for Sonic, and making them happen again in Sonic Frontiers 2 with cyberspace coming back would be something that I would be excited to see. I believe the boost formula has finally found its footing after years of just kind of being in a state of limbo and just overall boringness. And now, I think we just need to capitalize on it. Now let's talk about a few things that I would change. Now going back to the open zone area, this might sound a little contradictory, but I would actually just get rid of the boost. I think we don't need the boost in these open zone areas just because I believe there's going to be a lot of things to do here that fans and players are just not going to want to miss out on. So my solution is to make Sonic control much like he did in the Sonic Adventure games. In my own personal opinion, I liked how the hub worlds operated in Sonic Adventure, just because with Sonic running around, he didn't feel like he was slow nor too fast. He felt like he was able to be controlled in a much well-mannered way. And in these open zone areas, I think having that differentiation between Sonic exploring an open zone area versus boosting through a high-speed level will give fans the balance that I think this game could really do well in. Eliminating the boost entirely in the open zone area forces players to kind of explore and find new ways to traverse the land, which makes Sonic just feel that much cooler. Maybe you can have Sonic run up buildings just by being fast and using momentum, or maybe you can have Sonic find other ways to get from point A to point B that don't involve just holding down a button. In all honesty, I feel like the boost might serve as a little bit of a crutch for Sonic's character, especially as of lately. The boost is there just so Sonic can feel fast, but I don't think he needs the boost to be fast, and that's been proven before with games like Sonic Adventure and Adventure 2. I mean, it's even been proven in the classic games as well. This kind of balance between boost gameplay and just explorer gameplay, if that's what you want to call it, will enable players to really get a sense for both gameplay styles and understand just how to utilize Sonic even better. As far as playable characters go, honestly, I don't really think I need or want anyone else playable, at least at the time of launch. The reason I say this is because I honestly feel incredibly underwhelmed by playing as Tails, Knuckles, and Amy, especially now when I'm playing Final Horizons. Their gameplay just doesn't feel nearly as fun as it should be, and I think that's only due to the fact that they're still trying to figure out all the gameplay mechanics when it comes to just designing Sonic. In a perfect world, yeah, give me all the playable characters. Give me your Shadow, give me your Cream, give me your Eggman, give me everybody. But in this real world, when it comes to Sonic Frontiers 2, just focus on Sonic. I am more than okay with that. And here comes a big hear me out moment. I honestly think the story should operate in a similar way. Maybe we only use a few characters in the Sonic the Hedgehog series as part of the big overall story. That being said, other characters could still be in it. Maybe you would have characters like Shadow show up as kind of like an NPC, someone you can interact with, but he's not actually part of the main story. Now here's the reason I say that. There's actually 3 reasons why I'm saying that, and one, I'll just get this out of the way. I just read Sonic and the Blade of Courage, the new manga that came out. I wish I could provide a link without this video probably getting taken down or showing pictures, but even still, that manga just has Sonic and human characters interacting. Sonic's not with anyone else, it's just Sonic. And that story felt so good and refreshing. To be able to see Sonic's character in full force, just interacting with the other people in the environment who he doesn't even really know that well or at all. It just felt so Sonic-like. And I think stories like this can really thrive in a game setting once more, as we've even seen it done before in games like the storybook titles. My second reason is, well, Sonic Unleashed. There's only a few Sonic characters that are actually part of the main core within this game. Sonic, Tails, Amy, and Eggman. That's it. That's all the characters you really have from this game that fans will resonate with and recognize. And I think the reason for that goes into my third point. A lot of the time nowadays, you see all these characters showing up in these Sonic games just because of the fact that they're Sonic characters, they're recognizable, and people will think it's cool that they're there. But it just results in characters getting shoehorned in titles that just do not need to be there. Now I'll make this quick, but let's talk about Sonic Forces for a second. I get it, the whole game is about a war, so everybody's got to be there. But with everyone being there, just makes it feel a little stupid. Sonic is out, so you figure Shadow should be able to step up and take control of the situation, right? I mean, he is considered the ultimate life form, yet he doesn't do anything. Eggman is still able to take over basically the entire world, or I guess 99.99% of it, just because Sonic is gone. You figure Shadow, Silver, this elite dream team we have here, just getting rid of Sonic should be able to be enough to stop Eggman from at least doing this much. But for whatever reason, this wasn't enough. It took 2 Sonics and a custom character in order to stage a true revolution. Having said that, I think a story that's just doing less is more. We don't need all of these crazy things to happen. Like I looked at Sonic Frontiers, for example. As good as a story as it was, I don't need my Sonic stories to be incredibly complex. I look again at Sonic and the Blade of Courage. That is a non-complex story and very, very grounded. Yet I found myself just wondering what was going to happen next during each and every single page turn. It was a fun read. And you know what? The story wasn't complicated. To be totally honest with you, I do not have a story idea for this supposed Sonic Frontiers 2. But I do have one stipulation for my pitch. Keep it simple. I don't need all these crazy things happening because a Sonic story can be just as good using very little or few main characters. We just came off of the commercial success of Sonic X Shadow Generations. Now give us a game that's grounded and focuses really just solely on Sonic. I wouldn't be opposed to additional characters being added as DLC later on like Final Horizons, but let's just focus on the actual core game itself. But with all that being said, what is your thoughts on my pitch for a Sonic Frontiers sequel? Let me know all of it in the comment section down below, and also, I want to hear some of your story ideas based on the information I provided. Give me your simplest Sonic the Hedgehog story that also is really fun and really cool. But with all that said and done, this is your boy Sonic signing out. Have a super blessed day, y'all.
Why are you playing that trash?